Now we're going to talk about the Summer Movie Preview 2018. We're going to try to get to some of these movies that we want to see. And we're going to start with Mr. Tillman talking about a film that opens up May the 18th.
Deadpool 2.
Why do you want to see
Because
this
the
movie?
first one was just so fantastic. To me, it rejuvenated the whole superhero genre.
Really?
Took it in you.
Okay,
Yeah.
what did you like about it?
I think it was more mature, I think.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it was definitely more mature. Mature audiences, that's
It
for
wasn't
sure.
as reverent either to
Okay.
the genre, I think. And that was kind of refreshing, I thought.
So-
And Ryan Reynolds is perfect in that.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is. Doing much better in that than he did as the Green Lantern a few years ago.
So the fact that they didn't take it too seriously, that they had a lot of fun with it,
Yeah.
that's what appealed to you?
But yet it wasn't really campy either, not like the old Batman series of
Okay.
the
Right.
60s.
Okay.
Which was and was fine because it
Right.
knew it was. I just thought it worked really well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's definitely your different audience. And I remember when I went to see it, there were some young kids that were
No,
there.
not appropriate.
Because, it's a superhero film. And again, I used to always blame the parents
Yeah.
when this would happen. I blame them even more now, or the guardians, because there's so many outlets out there where you can find out what is this movie about, is it appropriate, is it not. So it's an R-rated film, a heavy R-rated film, but if you like the first one, you're going to probably enjoy Deadpool 2, opening May 18th. All right, what's on your list? Give me something off your list, Mr.
I'm
Jesse.
excited for something the week after, Solo, a Star Wars story. That'll be opening May 25th. It'd be interesting to see how that'll go up against Deadpool the weekend before. But yeah, this is just telling the story of a young Han Solo back before we meet him in the original Star Wars film. Get to encounter how he meets Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
So a lot of the characters we're familiar with, it talks about how they meet each other. I definitely think this is the riskiest Star Wars film that we've seen released yet, just because so many people are going to judge it based on what they know of Harrison Ford
Right,
in that iconic
right,
role.
right.
But it looks hilarious based on the trailers, a much different Star Wars film than we've seen, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and we know Ron Howard, who picked up the torch to kind of carry this across the finish line, literally.
Yeah.
And we know what talent he is, and I'm really interested to see what his stamp is going to be.
Love Ron
on this
Howard.
movie. So I'm looking forward to this movie as well. A movie that was not, that actually is on my list, but this, Catherine could not be here, Catherine Manning, but this was on her list. Ocean's 8, which actually opens June the 8th. Listen to this cast. Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, Rihanna, Helena Bonham Carter, Anne Hathaway, just to name a few, who are going to be in this heist crime comedy directed by Gary Ross. It's a spin-off of the Ocean's trilogy that Soderbergh brought to the screen. It looks fun. It looks like it's got that same feel with both action and comedy that the other films did. So I'm looking forward to this. This movie has been talked about for a while. Remember the Expendables that came out?
Right.
They were talking about doing a spin-off on that, calling the Expendables, with an all-female cast, and that one never got off the ground.
Is it set in the South or something?
No, well, no, it was going to have
Hoop skirts and
no, it was going to have action female stars, but it never got off the ground. But this one did. So, Ocean's 8 is on the list, and that is June the 8th that you can find that in theaters. What's next on yours, Mr.
All right,
Turner?
everyone thinks of summer blockbusters, and this is not one of them.
Okay.
It could be, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
And it's a documentary on Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, called "Won't You Be My Neighbor?"
Now you've seen some of the trailers for this.
I did see the trailer for it. I didn't know it was even coming, and I was amazed at how much behind-the-scenes footage that they had from the set and just over the years. Of course, I know the show was on for decades.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Mr. Rogers. Closest thing to an American saint. I've said that before, and I believe that. I'm glad he's being acknowledged.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's starting to get that recognition, and it's well-deserved, like
Yeah.
you said, an
Yeah.
icon, really.
Yeah.
So what is it about Mr. Rogers that appealed to you, or that you liked about what he offered to the American culture?
Mr. Green Jeans wasn't on that show.
That's
we
what it
talked
was,
about
so-
Captain Kangaroo last week and how Mr. Green Jeans scared me.
Yeah. Mr.
No,
Rogers didn't scare you.
It
Okay,
was
that's
just a very comforting, loving environment, if you even want to call it that, on that show. And I don't know, he's just a sweet, warm guy.
Yeah.
You
I
can't
tell you,
not like him.
There was one TV show that just freaked me out. My daughter was drawn into this show.
Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
No, I love that. That was
Re-
me. I love that show.
Really?
Love that show.
Okay.
I love the Sid Marty Krofft stuff, but
Really?
Teletubbies.
Okay, well that's a whole other show.
Yeah, I love the Sid Marty Krofft stuff, but Teletubbies just freaked me out.
Yeah,
I
was
I didn't
never a
get it.
Teletubbies guy.
Now my daughter Katie, who's 21 now,
Yeah.
when she was really
Yeah.
young, she loved it.
See, that was my daughter.
She loved
Same
it,
thing.
and Barney
Yeah.
and those things.
They freak me
Yeah,
out.
it's just freaky. Weird.
So I will not watch the Teletubbies feature film that's coming out
Well,
later
no,
on this
you
year.
know, Tinky Winky's. There's nothing wrong with Tinky Winky.
Tinky Winky, that's your name. I'm going to start giving you, I'm going to call you
Ooh.
Tinky Winky.
You're going to regret the day
Tinky
you brought
Winky
that name
Tillman.
up.
Hey, Tim, what do you think of that? Tim Cam. Tinky Winky Tillman, you like it? All right, work that up on the CG. Tinky Winky
Can I
Tillman.
call you Dipsy?
Yeah, sure. My
There's
wife
Lon-
calls me
Lon
that all
over
the time.
here.
So that's fine. That's a little Fred Rogers trivia. Did you know that he actually has acting, like he has like Screen Actors Guild credit as well, and he's been
Really?
on like TV shows?
No, I didn't.
One TV show he was on, he actually played a reverend in an episode of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman,
Really?
1996.
Really? Well, he was a minister in real
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Episcopal minister.
All right, so Won't You Be My Neighbor, also coming out June the 8th. What's next on your list?
Incredibles 2. It's also the weekend after. I don't know why I'm choosing all these right after you, but June 15th is when Incredibles 2 comes out. Really, it's been a long-awaited sequel. I know that a lot of people my age, like, we grew up with the original Incredibles, and like we've been waiting for this forever. And so the chance to finally see that again, really the same effect that Finding Dory had a few years ago, where it's been such a long gap in between that they're going to get that mid-20s range group of people, but you're also going to get the young kids coming back. Probably a lot of the parents that took our
Absolutely.
age people to it. Looks really cool, and it kind of flips the script a little bit because this one focuses on Elastigirl being out and using her superpowers to fight crime, and Mr. Incredible staying home to take care of the kids.
He's
So-
kind of like being Mr. Mom.
yeah,
is
yeah.
What's happening.
It looks to be like a really fun movie, and I'm excited to
Well,
see
you know,
that one.
Pixar did, and they also did the same thing. You go back what they did with Toy Story 3. There
Yeah.
was this long gap.
Yeah.
And I remember when that came out, some of the college students that I was, working with at that time were excited, and they went to see it, and they're like, "Why are these little kids here? This is my movie. This is my movie. I grew up with these guys." And
There was
so,
a long gap between Monsters Inc. and Monsters University
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Now here's the thing, you like The Incredibles?
I
right?
did, yeah, very much
I
so.
didn't kind of get it. I don't,
Really?
It's all right.
To me, it's one of my favorite
I don't get the love
superhero
for
films.
that one that I do for pretty much every other Pixar.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Well, you're a super villain. That's why you're much more of a despicable me kind of guy. Speaking of superheroes and villains, on my list, Ant-Man and Wasp, July 6th is when this
Yes.
is released. Back in 2015, Ant-Man was a huge hit. It was my favorite comedy of the year, and Paul Rudd is just wonderful. I've always liked Paul Rudd, and he just fit this role perfectly. And so seeing him in a sequel, and also, he was great in Civil War as well. So I'm glad to see him back with Evangeline Lilly, Michael Pena. They're all back in this sequel, and this will be the 20th release for the MCU.
I finally watched Ant-Man this weekend.
Did you really?
I can now say that I've seen all the MCU films. So
So you see why I like that movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it's a lot of
hilarious.
fun.
Really
it was
funny.
almost on my list. And why was he not in Avengers?
You'll find out.
Okay.
You'll find out. Because there's the storyline connects. You'll find out.
All right.
So, yeah, that's what I'm told when I talked to Stan Lee yesterday.
Groovy, baby.
Wait, just wait. Hold your.
I didn't realize you two were close.
Oh heck yeah.
He's going to do a cameo on the show sometime, and
yep.
just like he does in all his movies.
Well,
We're going to cut to your chair, and he'll just be sitting in it.
okay, I actually talked to a guy named Stanley, but he refers to himself as Stan Lee. So yeah, there you go. All right,
That makes sense.
Mr. Tillman, what else is on your list for summer movie
Christopher
previews?
Robin.
Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the live action version of Christopher
Yes.
Robin. With
Obi-Wan
Ewan
Kenobi, I
McGregor.
think, stars in that. Is
yeah,
that right?
Yeah. By all accounts, the real life Christopher Robin was not that nice a guy, but I'm looking forward to see how the story evolved and came to be as
Yeah.
beloved as we know it to be now.
Yeah, it looks fun, and I love McGregor. I love his work.
yeah.
I'm not really. I pretty much like him in anything he does, and so I'm looking forward to this as well. So, and you can never get enough poo in the world. Never enough poo in the world. That's what Tim Foster said anyway.
I see Greg's face. So many comments being held back.
I'm editing myself as we go along.
All right, Mr. Jessup, what else is on your list, man?
Mission Impossible Fallout, July 27th. Christopher McQuarrie's coming back to direct this one, and obviously you've got Tom Cruise in it, just like all the other ones. Henry Cavill's in this one. We get to see the famous mustache that he caught so much flack for in
Superman.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it. It's
You didn't watch Justice League?
no Zack Snyder stuff. Anything his fingerprints are on, I stay away from.
You don't like. But yeah, it's just it's another traditional Mission Impossible story. Ethan Hunt and his team find themselves in a race against time after a mission goes wrong. But I just keep coming back to this franchise, and I really think the practical effects and the stunt work in this really is what separates it from just being another random action film.
I agree with you.
And it's also got the privilege of being a franchise that I feel like has progressively gotten better instead of worse as they've come out with more movies. Like the third, fourth, and fifth one, each one that I've watched, I've just been like, man, this is a great film.
Yeah, this is number 6.
This is the 6th film.
Yeah, I remember watching the first one. We talked about this a little bit before De Palma did the first one. And I thought it was okay. It just didn't, there were things about it that just didn't really work for me. But Tom Cruise has just stuck with it the whole time. And the guy's amazing. I mean, he is, he's 56, 57 or so. I mean, are we, is that, and he's still doing these stunts.
Yeah.
And he's still in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Not quite as good a shape as Greg Tillman, but he is in decent shape.
Well, he doesn't eat as many pancakes as I do.
That's
But
the
he
secret
could. Yeah,
to
that's true.
success.
That's true. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Mission Impossible, that's a franchise that since '96.
Yeah.
Is that one the first one?
Yeah.
Wow. So it's older than you.
Wow, yeah.
Isn't
I was
it?
born in '96, so
Okay.
yeah.
It's-
Maybe that's why I like it, is we've
Yeah,
grown up together.
We've grown up together. Yeah, Mission Impossible. Looking forward to that. That opens. What's the date of that?
July 27th.
July 27th. This is a guilty pleasure film I'm going to list. This was also on Greg's list. Dwayne Johnson. We talked about
I know where you're going with
Rampage.
this.
We talked about Rampage. Not a great film. Christian hated it. I thought it was okay. It wasn't horrible to me, but it wasn't great.
What
But,
did you rate it? What would you
I gave
rate
it a C.
All right.
It was just I knew exactly what I was going into. But yeah, everything you said bad about it, I will agree. The trailers gave everything away. But Skyscraper, this is a cross between Towering Inferno and Die Hard. Dwayne Johnson's coming into this film as an action disaster flick. It's just a guilty pleasure. I'm just drawn
This one
into
looks
these
fun.
movies.
Yeah, me too.
I'm looking forward to this. My wife, as soon as she saw it, she says, yep, we're going to be there opening
Yeah.
weekend. So Skyscraper,
fun.
July 13th is the release date for that. Well, we don't have time to dive into a whole lot more, but a few others that were on the list, I'll just share these. Mary Shelley is coming out May 25th, Jurassic World, June the 22nd, and Denzel Washington is back in his first ever sequel in the Equalizer 2, and that is on July the 20th. You guys have any final comments before we wrap things up?
I'm trying to figure out how I'll find time to see all this stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Not with Movie Pass.
And we did,
Well,
and we did not scratch the surface. There's still a whole lot more out there, but we hope this gives you a taste of what you can check out in theaters this summer. I do want to leave a movie quote with you, as I always do, and we've been talking about superhero films. DC early on had it with the Batman films. Tim Burton really found a way to bring superheroes back. So here's a quote from that original Batman film. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's go nuts. That's it for this week on Meet Me at the Movies, C19 TV. And if you're listening online, WGWG.org, we appreciate that as well. Till next time, for everybody here, that's a wrap.